everybody, welcome to Debbie's Rusty Brush. Today what we're going to do is a quick little 6x6 by 1/2 inch, the 3D canvas. We're going to do a country Christmas barn, and we're going to do this. I'm going to do this in chalk paint. This is what we're doing. Now, as usual, I will speed it up over here on YouTube so that you guys can see the painting from beginning to end, and it'll be 10-15 minutes at the most, so it's really quick for you. Now, if you would like to see the full-length version of this, I go live on my Facebook page, and so the video stays up over there. So if you'd like to watch it in real time, it took about 1 hour and 9 minutes to paint this. Just hop on over to Debbie's Rusty Brush on Facebook, give me a follow and a like over there, and you can watch the video. Now, if you like these videos, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, share with your friends because it really helps my channel grow, and make sure to comment down in the comments what you think. So without further ado, we're going to get going with this one. All right. Okay, as you can see, I did draw the basic outline of a barn onto the canvas. I don't a lot of times do that with my paintings, but this one I wanted to kind of have it spaced out. So what I'm doing at the moment is I have mixed together a gray using black and white, and I am using that color and then adding in white to mix on the canvas as I go. So that I have some darker areas and some lighter areas. And now I'm just taking some blue iris and some white, and I'm going through and putting that in to give just a little bit of a different hue into the gray so that we kind of have a stormy winter day. So just play with it until you get a desired look that you're happy with, and then we'll just move on with the remainder of the painting. Okay, so now I am just taking some white and putting it along the bottom here. I'm not worried where it mixes in with the gray because you do want some shadows and some light in the snow. So we're just putting in a base layer of the snow at the foot of the barn. All right, so now we're just going to outline our barn using black. It won't end up showing much in the end as we go over it and we add in the color of our barn and put in our grays and our whites and the different things, but we do want to have a darker outline around our barn to get started. So here we're just going to fill in our door area with black because our door is open and it's dark on the inside. And then we're going to add in a little area up here at the top, which is also open, and that would be where the hay is stored up there. And so we're going to put that in, and now we're just going in with some gray and some white and mixing it in here. And as you can tell, I'm kind of blurring those lines that we just put in and giving it an actual look of the barn so that it is not like a drawn in picture, that it is part of it. And those areas are just a little darker, like they're in shadow or light areas. Now, as you can tell, as I'm going around the silo, I'm doing that from a right to left and left to right motion because this is a round silo, and your brush strokes will make a difference in how this looks. If I go up and down, it's not going to look round. And as you can tell, I want the outside edges where it's going around to be darker than right there at the front, where I want it to be lighter so that the light is hitting that area and it is more in shade as it goes around that cylinder. And by all means, it is perfectly okay to do a bit of finger blending and get things just the way you want if your brush isn't accomplishing what you're looking for. Now I'm just going through here with the top, and I am covering up what we have already painted in there. It gave me an idea though where I want those to be. I just don't want them to be as dark as the black was, and I want to put in some shading and some light areas so that it looks more like the roof than to just have those black lines going through it. All right, so now we're just coming down into this little offshoot of our barn and getting that all filled in and fully covered with paint, and just kind of getting the base color the way that we want it, getting our lines straight here on our door so that it is fully covered in and filled in, and that we have the straight lines there. And I'm adding a bit of shadow and light here to the very top, because you just want to play with it until you have a color that suits you, the one that shows it as its own building away from the sky, because we are kind of going with a gray-white barn in a gray-white setting with white snow and a kind of gray look to our sky. Now I am going to go back in here with the black and put in a little bit of an outline, not as heavy as we had before, kind of blending as we go. And I'm going to be putting in boards here, and you want to do a really light touch on this because you want to see them, but you don't want them to be completely defined because we are a ways away from our barn. So we don't want big black bold lines. We just want the idea that we have those boards in the front of our barn. And as you can tell, I am not measuring these out. I'm just kind of looking at them and going, well, I think a board would go here and I think a board would go there. I'm trying to get them pretty close to the same width apart, but not exactly. And now we're just going to add some snow on top of our roof here, and that's why we kind of wanted that line a little blacker. So when we add the white, where we still see where the roof line is, and we definitely see snow that is on the top of it. And on this domed lid, we want the snow to kind of show where it's coming down the actual face of the roof there. But we don't want it to be completely full, because any metal roof like that is going to have some snow that has slid, and we want to have that look. And then with these little rustic drawing or paintings, I like to put this black edging around. To me, it just finishes off and gives it a nice little rustic look. So that is what I'm doing now, is just taking a putty knife. You can do this with a palette knife. I prefer to use my putty knife, and just go around and add this little bit of antiquing all the way around the front and the sides of the canvas. I just like the look of it. This is optional. You don't need to do this, but I like the way it looks. Okay, and then we're just going to go through and put the slatted boards in our cylinder there, our silo, and put in some lights and darks throughout our barn, because we want it to appear like it is weather worn, and that over time it has worn differently in different areas. Like maybe there was some white paint on it at one time, but with the wind and the weather, that has started to come off, and you have the graying boards underneath. And now we're just going to take our white swan and play with our snow a little bit here, around the base of the barn. I want it to have little drifts and hills here and there, so I don't want that to be a straight line. The wind has blown the snow around, and there is just a hill over here, so we want to put a little bit of shadow in, with where the hill is coming down and going into a dip before it comes up into the other one. So just play around until you're happy with what that looks like. And now we're just going to go through and put one more coat on our open door, because we want to make sure that we don't have any white showing in the canvas there. And so now I'm just going to go in and start our wreath that is going to hang on the front of our barn. I'm just going to use several different green colors and just put little dabs here and there in a circle, and then layer in a lighter color and a lighter color, until I get a nice full green wreath that is on the front of our barn. Now the colors that I am using, and here is Ziva, our kitty cat, here to help. The colors I am using is Monet's Garden, Aviary, and Fancy Farm Girl to get in the base of our wreath here. And it looks like I've also got some mint chip in there to add a little bit of lightness. And so I'm just adding layer and layer and layer just to give some depth into that. The majority of our painting is the whites and blacks and grays. And so I want some depth in this wreath, which we did add in with the different colors in our barn, but I do want the depth in the wreath. And now we're just going to add a weather vane on top of our barn, and this is a rooster up here, and we just want to get that in as a topper for our barn. All right, so now we are just going through and putting snow on all the little ledges, the door ledge and the ledge of this open hay mow, I think it's called a mow, on the barn. And so we want to get all of those to have their little layer of snow. Now we've got Carnival Red, and we're going to go in and put in some berries on our wreath, to add a little color and a pretty red bow. All right, and so now we are just going to add in a little fence that goes off of the barn here over in our pasture area. And the fence is getting, it's going away from us, so the fence posts are getting a little shorter and a little shorter as we go. And this is just a rustic wood fence.
And so the boards that are going across are getting a little thinner as we go out and a little closer together because we want the eye to appear that it is moving away from us. And now we're going to just go ahead and put a little bit of snow on the top of our fence and our fence posts and each one of those boards that go across. So we just want to make sure that it fits right into our snowy scene. And now we're going to add in trees. And with this, I did not go ahead and put in a trunk because we're going to bring it right down here in. And we're going to put enough layers in there. We've got a couple different colors, Monet's Garden and Aviary there. And then we're going to add snow into our tree. So you would never see the trunk, even if I put it in there on this particular one, because it is going to be laden with snow. And so we did not put a trunk in there. And with this one, the same thing. We're just going to go ahead and put our boughs in there and get our tree put in there. This one is kind of hiding in behind our barn a little bit, so it's set back. And we're just going to layer the couple of different green colors in there as a base. All right, so now we're going to add some snow into our trees. We don't want to overpower our trees with snow. We do want to see some of the green in there, and we don't want to just go down the edges. We want it to look like we have boughs that are coming out front so that it looks 3D. And then when we get our snow into our trees, if you've gone a little overboard, which I sometimes do, go ahead and add some green back in there and just play back and forth until you get the desired effect that you're looking for. And then I'm just going to take some white and I'm going to put in here at the base of the trees and do a little blending so that we have some shadows in there, maybe a little shadow for our fence, just for some finishing touches.
All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit today. I hope you enjoyed the painting of this cute winter barn. Like I said, these little 6x6 3D canvases are just wonderful for a shelf sitter or a tablescape during the holidays. And they aren't that expensive. They're $30 over on Etsy. And so I want to make sure that they're affordable for everybody. All right, so this is what we did, and we will see you again next week. Thanks for hanging out. Bye-bye.